Welcome to the Lost Lowdown, podcast 158 with your hosts Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
We're back, continuing our season 4 commentary series with episode 403, The Economist.
The mysterious economist.
Who amongst us can be the economist?
Really a title and an occupation that should not be exciting. And yet, it involves international intrigue and assassination and all sorts of crazy conspiracies and I must point out that I think it's actually not even official that we ever found out who the Economist is.
No, it's the mysterious person who's running everything, and we never really figure out who it is. There's a lot of strangeness with with this whole idea of Saeed going around the world killing people for Ben to protect the losties. You just never know if that's true. It's such an interesting little period of time here. It's one of the hallmarks of like Saeed being manipulated. I think we mentioned this on a previous podcast where it's almost a version of being was not infected, being claimed. Sorry, wow, it's been that long. I forget my lost words. I love to say contaminated. But yeah, it's really interesting. And one of the things I think about, when like Saeed gets to go to the afterlife, and it's just like he killed a lot of people, and he was a torturer before the show started, and it's just interesting, how much, as great as a character as he is, how much bad stuff he's done.
Yeah. And yet he's not stuck on the island like Michael, who killed two people for his son, and that's it.
Yep.
That's literally all he did.
So Michael killed two people, not even planned to kill them.
No, totally.
It wasn't premeditated.
He was supposed to let Ben go. It wasn't. Even the others say that later. We didn't tell you to shoot people.
They're surprised.
That was your idea.
And so to protect his family, his flesh and blood. Saeed indiscriminately kills an untold list of people.
And tortures,
tortures
just
people
for military reasons or
and he's just like, oh well.
It's almost like he gets a pass because he's manipulated into it. Like it's like the responsibility.
Michael was manipulated into it.
Well, that's true. I don't know. It's weird. It's very strange. I don't know why that, but it is a consistent character thing, I mean, even that flashback from season 1 with the CIA when they recruit him to like infiltrate this terrorist group or whatever.
Yeah, his best friend didn't he kill himself?
Yeah.
Saeed came in, he was in his life, and they were best buds, and Saeed betrayed him, and he killed him. I mean, that's a horrible story.
Yeah, totally. But once again, it's like someone comes in, like, hey, you should do this. Like, you'll get what you want if you do this, And it was for Nadia again, which is the same thing,
Wow, I'm actually... I know we've talked about all this, but just putting it together is actually a really interesting way to look at Saeed's character. I feel like we haven't explored before, because if you think about it just like functionally, like what's his function on the show? The surface stuff is he's kind of a badass. He's super technical. Like he's the Iranian MacGyver. Which is a great character. But really, like in terms of the themes of the show, like he's this guy who is often manipulated into doing bad things for some I guess almost a noble cause. Most of the thing in his eyes, are these like noble causes where morality can be bent. And I think that's really interesting, in terms of a bunch of characters on a show that's about, how do they respond to stimuli, and how does their belief system affect their actions, because once he believes he's doing the right thing, he'll do whatever that is,
Right.
and it just makes me think, we were pre-podcast, we were talking about the loophole, surprise, surprise. And it just makes me think if Saeed could have been a candidate. He was part of that sort of manipulation stuff at the end when he got resurrected.
Right.
But just in terms of being manipulated into doing some bad things because he, if Man in Black was like, hey Saeed, you need to kill Jacob to protect the Losties, he would have done that. He would have been like, oh, okay,
Right.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I guess the fact that he cares about the noble goal is why he's not just a straight up villain,
Actually, I forgot. Of course, he was told by Man in Black to kill Jacob anyway. Oh no, wait, sorry, it was the other way around. Dogan told
Dogan,
him to
yeah.
kill Man in Black. That's what it was.
Which
So,
is the same thing, just
same thing,
flipped
just
around.
switch
And then the Man in Black says, "No, you should kill Dogan."
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so I mean, there it is being played out. There's that idea of him being a manipulatable guy. That's really interesting. That needs to go in the book.
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's a huge thing with his character, and I think it's somehow he gets a pass because he has good intentions in some way, even if what he actually does is bad in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Like somehow. I mean, once he gets claimed, it's sort of like I don't quite know what to make of that stuff, but I mean, certainly, if you think about the Shannon's inhaler thing where he tortures Sawyer, like once again, there's in his eyes, like a noble goal there, like why are you withholding her inhaler?
That brings up an interesting thing with Sully being claimed and that strange amorphous quality of like, well, what is really claiming here? There's so much surrounding his resurrection that is weird. But
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
interesting just to think about the idea of like, okay, he's this idea of manipulation and claiming. I mean, what is claiming if it's not some sort of manipulation? So it's almost like he's one of the perfect characters.
They blur the line there,
yeah,
I think.
they just go ahead and like, oh, we have a guy who's very easily manipulated. Well, he'll be in the proximity of the guy who can claim. So it's almost like, well, what's the difference? If he's if he just listens to the person, I mean, yeah, is that claiming? Like you'll do what the claimer says? I mean,
Right.
it's such a weird phenomenon that was never really explained.
Yeah, I think the thing that's ambiguous is if there's anything more than that, or if it's really just like, well, he's a supernatural thing. He makes various like crazy promises, and because of the situation that the people are in, they find them convincing, I guess, and sort of agree on some level to follow his orders, and like that's all it comes down to, or is there an extra thing there? Is there?
Yeah, that's interesting because we've kind of debunked a lot that this like almost superstition about Man in Black, that I think would sort of naturally be attributed to someone or something you think is evil incarnate. But if you strip that title off of him, then yeah, maybe claiming is just like he's a good talker. It goes back to what Dogan said. Don't let him speak.
Yeah.
For that, and
it's not mystical. It's just about.
It's just
once he starts talking, he might convince you to do something.
He'd be great on Wall Street. He could close and he'd get some coffee because coffee's for closers.
Yeah, exactly.
And a little reference there. And anyway, that's kind of an interesting angle on Saeed. I don't think we've really thought too in that way before.
Yeah.
Combining those ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me wonder because, I mean, Claire's thing, I think, can also be viewed in that way. Like, he convinces her that the others have her baby, and it's sort of like, if you actually buy into that, then you can kind of see how she turns into the thing she turns into, not necessarily needing some supernatural force, affecting her brain or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the thing we don't understand is the Russo team claiming, like, what did he tell them? You know what I mean? Like, what was it where it was like, yeah, I'll shoot I'll shoot my wife. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what was the thing he said to them down there? Like, I think that's still a mystery. If that's all it was, because that's the one that seems the most like it was some kind of mind control or something.
Yeah.
And so, but what could he have told them? Like, here's why you should go up there and and kill her.
Well, it could have been interesting. He could have posed as Rousseau and told them that there's an imposter. There's an imposter on the beach.
Well, that would have been crazy.
Go kill them.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, she's gone crazy. She's gonna think you're all infected. Like, I don't know. We don't really see all the sides of that story, and so that's something that there's a lot of room for speculation there on how that was supposed to work.
Yeah.
Since that's really the origin on the show of the sickness as an idea.
Yep.
And they went so far as to show it, and yet not quite enough to understand it.
Well, but then the sickness is also the purge.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that confusion. And it's also the thing that happens.
No, it's not another thing.
When you cross the barrier, it's the thing we're about to get into, like, right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's at least 3 main sicknesses, I think.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Which is pretty ridiculous. But when Danielle was talking about the sickness, and that's where that term came from, she was talking about the smoke monster one.
Yeah.
It got conflated with stuff, and the characters. It feels like the characters never realized. No one ever put it together. That, like, there was all these disparate ideas, and we're just kind of pretending like they fit together.
Makes you think of a Lost game show, and characters are the contestants, and they're like, all right, for the next question, what is the sickness? And like 3 characters give 3 different answers. And they're all right and all wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's how you end up with, like, we got this vaccine, and it'll protect you from the sickness. And if you don't give the vaccine to the baby's going to get the sickness. And it's just like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But it's like, yeah, there's more than one answer. I guess that's just something that happens sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a good storyline in this episode. Yeah, we're trying to get through season 4 here. It's gonna be fun. There's a lot of this is just where the story of the show ramps up and gets crazier and crazier, and then it ends.
Yeah, I mean there've already been, I think, some I would say, like, somewhat mild retconning, stuff with the others, the way they've been portrayed. I think there's definitely some inconsistencies there that have already appeared. But I think the big things that, we tend to go on and on about, I mean, they tie into the earlier seasons, but the reason why they're a problem really starts here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is where they kind of throw their, what's the word? They throw their, what's the thing you throw down? I don't remember. There's a thing you throw down. Anyway.
Gauntlet? What are you talking about?
Yeah, they throw down the gauntlet, and they're and they're like, here's what the thing is, or here's another aspect of this thing, and it starts piling up and kind of becoming incoherent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, this Saeed plot in this episode is a perfect example of that, because it starts off fine. because we don't know anything at this point. And it could be that this story makes sense.
It's funny you mentioned that idea because it makes me think of that. There's a Key and Peele sketch where it's the development meeting for Ghostbusters 2. I'm sorry, Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so it's like a bunch of the straight men in the thing. The normal characters are like, yeah, we'll so kind of be like, regular gremlins, blah blah blah. And then Jordan Peele plays this like eccentric character who comes in and he just like makes it crazier. And then like it's just such a funny sketch if you've seen that movie because like he just like figures out a way to like just have great, and then he's just like, okay, great. And then so he like goes to every person and like talks to them and like they'll say something normal and then he'll just come away with, great, yes, you're right, we should have a gremlin who's a female and she's really sexy and she's gotta wear red lipstick. Yes, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yes, there will be a gremlin who has bat wings, who flies up to the moon and makes the Batman symbol because why not? Okay, yes. And, it's just like it goes through all these things and you just realize how insane that movie is.
Yeah.
Like it just completely like so I mentioned that like being you could make that sketch with Lost of just like keep throwing in like crazy stuff and then there's time travel and then they go back to when they were first on the island, and then it's just like, and then Sawyer sees Claire have a baby, and it's insane.
Right. And then like Desmond's gonna get shocked with electromagnetism and wake up in the afterlife.
Oh well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, great.
Which I feel like is one of the most ridiculous plot lines ever, and they got away with it somehow. Like I guess it's a good illustration. I feel like that's kind of what happens with this Saeed plotline too. They get away with stuff because when we watch it originally, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, because they have the benefit of the doubt that they will explain things
exactly,
or it makes sense, and so you go, oh, okay, this is crazy, but if I keep watching, it'll somehow. And it's interesting. It is like this show is like something like a magic trick, where they can just, you're watching in real time and, they can like hide things, and go, yeah, we'll show you how he sawed the lady in half, but, and then the show is over and they never get to the point where they actually explained anything.
Or they'll show you like I don't know, conflicting explanations, or they'll say like, oh, we never said we sawed a lady in half. We were going to tell you, how he escaped from the from the coffin at the bottom of the ocean, and it's like, well, it wasn't about that. Why is it that now?
Yeah,
like, it's very strange, like the way they approach, especially this plot line. I mean, I remember. It stands out so clearly in my mind. You're complaining about it not making sense, throughout. I mean, I think season 4 it was okay, but really when it got to season 5 and we started seeing these random thugs showing up, you were like, who are these people? Like, what are they doing? What's the goal? Like, why are they here? And it is weird, and I sort of went with it because I really thought they were gonna tie it up, and there was gonna be a scene with Widmore. It was like, yes, I sent them for you because blah, like there was gonna be something. Why did you try to kill us? Well, I had to protect the island, or whatever he's gonna say.
Yeah.
And it's weird that it's just never addressed at all. It's just like, yeah, there were some thugs hanging around trying to kill them, maybe, or something.
And that's the thing, it wasn't like, except for the guy who was sitting outside of Hurley's mental institution, which was a little suspect also, he was trying to kill him. But like,
and the guy in the hospital too.
But it wasn't like any of these people had a sniper rifle pointed at a Losty and then Saeed came and killed them.
Right.
It was, the guy at the golf course stands out where he's having a leisurely day. It's so weird. And then, we had all those theories that it's, okay, is Ben's running a business?
Yeah.
And this is where they get the money for his activities in the island,
Right.
and these are like business people he needs to kill or whatever. Like, yeah, I feel like I remember that idea, and it was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah. And even the origin of Saeed killing people, Nadia being hit by the car,
Mm-hmm.
like Ben tells him a story about what happened, but they refuse to ever confirm it.
Yeah.
Was it that guy? Even we don't even know that. Even if it was that guy, how do we know that guy has anything to do with Whitmore?
Yeah.
And even if he does, how do we know he was sent there to hit Nadia? And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just a random. I mean, how would you know what I mean? Like, how can you even
Yeah.
tell? I mean, the way that scene played out, it didn't seem like. I guess it's sort of like the bus hitting Juliet's husband.
Yeah.
It's like it plays out like an accident.
Yeah.
She's standing in the. She drops her keys or whatever and picks him up in the middle of the road. It doesn't come across like the car is heading for her. It's like
Mm-hmm.
she's in the middle of the road where she shouldn't be, and and the car doesn't see her, and that's why she gets hit.
Yeah, it's nicely ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's just and yeah, and that's and it's
And that
another.
was the moment. They could have showed the guy in the
Yeah,
car.
they don't go to his perspective. They don't do his
They
POV
could have
shot.
they could have cut to him in the car on the phone with Widmore,
Uh,
mission accomplished, sir. They could have done that.
mm-hmm.
And it would have just tied that up completely, that it was true. Or they could cut inside and, whatever, it's a family or something. And it's like, and he's like, oh my God, what have I done? And
Yeah,
she's like, honey, just keep driving, or, like, so, oh, it's not true,
yeah,
like, we get nothing.
yeah, and it's that same thing of just like no one claiming it. No
Yeah,
one saying nope, that
exactly.
was us. We set that up. And there's a whole pile of things in there where nobody seems to claim that thing that was obviously done.
Right, exactly. It's like, well, then how did it happen?
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to claim
Someone did this. We're not going to Disneyland until we find out who did it. I'm going to turn this car around. Uh, well, this is the show we love,
I know.
so
I know.
it's our own fault.
I know. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
I've no
it's
one to
great.
myself, but it's just, yeah, it's like, I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like this, it gives me something to obsess about. But I just find it so strange because most shows don't do this. I swear. I've watched a lot of shows and this is not normal.
It's very antagonistic. It makes you uncomfortable and it makes you upset, and it makes you like worry. It gives you all these
Yeah.
emotions that you don't actually watch TV for. Like you
Right.
go to watch TV to forget all that stuff,
It's
to forget
escapism.
that life is miserable and
Yeah.
fundamentally like unknowing
Confusing, unexplainable. Yeah.
and yeah and instead it gives you all those things. It's so
Yeah.
funny. It's such a hilarious concept, and it's just under the surface enough that you can
Yeah.
miss that it's doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
You can just say, oh, this is just a bad show. This is just a horrible
Right.
show. They're just making up as they go along. They don't,
Yeah.
all these explanations of why the show makes you think and feel the way it does, and then I think if you're a small majority, you somehow like I think you're, masochist or something.
Yeah.
They're just
It draws you in and it gives you stuff to speculate about and just even think about. Like I of all the shows I've watched, I just Lost is one of those things that keeps coming up. And even if I'm thinking about other shows, suddenly Lost comes in and it's like, oh, this is like that thing on Lost, and then I'm back,
yep.
thinking about some Lost thing. Because I mean, most plot lines, like, at least in terms of adventure mystery kind of shows, like they have something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
you know and it's always interesting to compare the way they did it versus other shows, because there's usually like a pretty clear difference. And when I complain about, missing things on other shows, it isn't frustrating in the same way.
Yeah.
It usually feels more like the exception rather than the rule. It's like, oh, they kind of flubbed this and it's sloppy, rather than like, no, they always do this. The whole show is like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I can't, it's not just this plot line, it's just like, this is yet another example of that same thing. So it's ridiculous how, that's what makes it feel like it has to be intentional. It's like they can't fuck up the same way like 100 times.
You can't have every aspect of the show be like this and then be like, oh, it's an accident because they're bad writers.
Yeah. It's just hard for me to buy that's the explanation. Like, oh, they just failed in the same way over and over.
It's like you could just flip it and go, okay. Tell me a plot line on Lost that makes sense. Go.
Right.
Go ahead, I'm waiting.
It's surprisingly hard to do.
Yeah. Which one?
Like, I feel like the only ones where that's really going to work are the smaller ones, like a character, sees this and does this, and then, you know what I mean? Just like a self-contained, there are like little mini plot lines that make sense. But I think any of the big ones, any of the long-term ones involving mysteries and stuff, do they make sense? Even if they give you answers, they don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the Whispers or something, we get the answer. That doesn't make it make sense.
No, it doesn't make
it doesn't help at all. It makes it worse in a way.
Yep.
It's almost like if they hadn't explained the Whispers, it would be easier to explain them.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's what? It's why? What? Huh?
Well, on that note, let's go to The Economist.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody, get your players ready if you're gonna sync up and watch with us. Oh man, I can't wait. My favorite moment is Saeed in the bed. With Elsa, and there's so much flowing hair. Hair flowing everywhere. Hair.
Yeah, that was a big day for hair.
That's when hair was in the news. It was a cover of Time magazine. Hair was Person of the Year. It got on Twitter. It got a lot of follicles. See what I did there? Oh,
wow.
Man, it didn't work, but I tried.
Wow. Wow.
Guys, always be joking. Always be joking. That's my motto. Don't stop joking. Why would you stop? I told my friend this. I was like, yeah, I just think my philosophy is like, if you're having a conversation and you can't be joking, like, why are you even talking? Like, why are you talking?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point of communication?
Yeah.
Not if there's no chance to joke.
Yeah. There should be a place for that.
I agree. And this is a place for that, clearly.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let me turn on my subtitles because I need those. And cool. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Previously on Lost.
All right.
Wet thud. Remember the wet thud? That's like the best caption. Oh, this.
Yeah.
Exodus.
Yeah, that whole "if you want to live" thing doesn't really work out so well for the red shirts. I love this.
There's not only that much I can do.
That's interesting. I think we talked about that in the last one, but Like,
that?
the team is incompetent. They can't handle this situation. I never really thought
Mm-hmm.
about that being an issue.
Yeah. Well, that was I think we did talk about that. That was a little nod to the fact that they're not like professional assassins.
Yeah,
They're not
totally.
Keeney's team.
Right.
They don't, I mean, Charlotte's the only one who does like expeditions.
Right. Right.
I think we did talk about that a little bit in the
Yeah.
hundreds of hours that we've had to discuss this show.
Yeah, I guess that's why they're telling us that. That makes sense. Because those people are basically going to become good guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to delineate the difference between them and the hardcore mercenaries that are on the freighter.
Yeah.
Even though, like, ostensibly they're on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I remember this. Yet another example of, like, oh, what the fuck?
What was that? Which part are you talking about?
Maybe it hasn't happened yet. I think it's about to happen. Here it is. This.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. Yes.
RG, the
Yeah,
mysterious RG.
Is that her sister? But no, the sister was just the code.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I remember that. I'm gonna have that.
It was a whole thing, and then there's the thing with Elsa in a bracelet, and it's
Yep.
like, why? I don't know what they're doing with that. I still have no idea. Well, yeah.
But we can change our mind, can't we? When we get new information. Sounds like Sawyer.
Yeah, definitely. I think Hurley even says that soon. Like, oh, good,
Oh,
we got a new Sawyer.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now. That's funny.
Because you're right, that's 100% a Sawyer comment. I seriously doubt Frank tweezes his goatee.
No.
Look at his hair.
Why would you tweeze it?
He's not all about like tidiness in his personal appearance. Yeah, see, I feel like actually one aspect of the hair with Saeed in this is just to clearly delineate the difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Him in the flash forward and on the island.
This is another thing too.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love this show so much.
It's crazy.
It's not that the guy was already playing golf and Saeed comes up to him.
Nope.
It's like Saeed's already here hanging out.
Yeah.
You can't control this moment.
Yeah, I know, and yet he's planning to do this. So it's like he I don't know, he knew which way the golf cart was gonna come, and then he planted himself there, or he waited,
or or this guy just happens to be the guy who makes, who's like drives around and makes sure people are doing what they're supposed to do, kind of. So he's like, okay, I'll show up here. They know I'm not a member. He'll come and talk to me.
Right.
Or whatever's happening.
Oh, Saeed's left-handed.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
I never noticed that. Or maybe I did and I forgot. Or maybe they mirrored the image. Who knows? But it looks like he's left-handed. I guess so they can face each other, it looks better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if they're both right-handed. And
yeah.
Just do this. But everyone on that plane was dead. Oh, but some people survived.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he clearly has a reaction to it. Though I don't know what the reaction is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, those are the people I'm trying to kill all the time. Or, oh, I read about that in the news.
Well, he should know if he's the guy, I don't know. If he's the guy Saeed thinks he is, shouldn't he have recognized Saeed?
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. See, and he even like he lets the wager go, and it seems like he's trying to run away. Like he isn't comfortable once he knows about the sprinkler.
Yeah, it's like, why would they come on now?
And he just walks right in. It's crazy. But you know, it seemed like he was uncomfortable. But on the other hand, you're right. He didn't recognize. Did he hear that like there's an assassin among them that they're picking us off one by one? You know, beware. Or was it more vague than that? Like I don't know
Or
what happened.
maybe he knew there was his friends were being assassinated, but he didn't
Mm-hmm.
know from who. But then once he
Yeah.
realized Saeed was connected to Widmore through this Oceanic Six thing, then he put two
Yeah.
and two together. But I don't know. It still seems like he should have recognized
You're
him.
right
But
though. I mean, it was international news. You would think
Mhm.
like, especially if it's someone who's like part of Widmore's team and like somehow conspiring to kill them all, you would think he would recognize one of them.
Saeed is so suave with his hairdo, man.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is his sort of James Bond's plot.
Yeah, yeah. I love to see his James Bond.
Which I feel like also works because he's British, even though
Yep,
technically Saeed's not
yep.
British.
Completely. He couldn't be less British. No, what did you do?
Yeah, that's not what you do.
That's what you do.
I gotta go shopping.
Yeah, it's
And of
weird,
course
but
she's
it's
lying, so I
yeah.
this is so weird. See, okay,
And again,
because
she doesn't know he's one of the Oceanic Six.
or does she? I mean, she's
Oh,
in
that's
on
true.
it at a
Yeah,
certain, you know what I mean? She's gonna try to kill him eventually. So does
but she
that
can't
mean
be faking all this unless this is just playing to the audience. You know what I mean? Like there's one level of this scene where she's genuinely acting like she doesn't know him, and but so is
yeah.
that just for the audience?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's for him. It's the ruse.
But
You know,
it's so, but you know what I mean? It's more than just, she's doing it so naturally that it seems like if it was just for him, it's a lot.
right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because, say, for instance, we knew what we're going to find out later, this scene would have played differently because she wouldn't have had to act like she has, we would have the benefit of knowing that she knows who he is or whatever.
Right.
So it would have played differently. So it's just weird to think like which how much is of that aspect is causing it to he just crushed some ice.
Yeah, I saw
This is
that.
this is the second like water thing they've done. I was wondering why the sprinklers went off, and I was like, okay, well that's a water symbol.
Mhm.
And I'm like, on the island maybe, and then he just grabbed that ice, and I'm like, is that
Yeah.
another? They're trying to do this water connection. So if they do it a third time, it's got to be true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then it's a pattern. Actually, they are sharing their real agenda. But
Hmm.
I guess we don't really know
They don't know
that
if
for
the real
sure at this
agenda is
point.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Candidate?
Lowercase c.
Yeah, of course. Uh-huh.
All right. Meanwhile. Oh, this stuff. I
Yeah.
forgot.
That's episode 7.
You're gonna have to wait.
How about the fingers?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Oh no.
Yeah, the thing about moving from the piggy who went to the market to the piggy who had roast beef means he's skipping one.
Yep. It's weird.
Oh man. Such a great line.
What?
Yeah, that's John Locke's character flaw.
Yep.
No. Oh, Locke, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I know. You're gonna like beat Hurley up. Is that really the plan?
Yeah, we're not gonna get that scene. Oh, this is great. Yeah, but no, Kate, you go along
Yeah,
anyway.
I know. That would be the real
Oh,
Kate
he just
scene.
said it. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
He
okay.
said it. Yeah, I remember loving this little exchange. Wait 20 minutes and go anyway. Oh, that's great.
Speaking of going anyway.
Yeah, don't wait 20 minutes. Go now. Awkward.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh. Oh.
I love how dangerous Locke is. Like
Yeah.
ready to just like he only like knifes Nadia. I mean
Naomi.
Naomi.
Don't give him too much credit.
But it's just some better alliteration there.
Yeah.
This is so weird. Saeed just said, "No, Jack, we need diplomacy," and then like
Yeah.
it's great to end up. Well, no, he's a torturer.
Yeah. Frank's like, I haven't been watching a show. That's kind of weird.
Hmm.
There's a torturer here?
It's both. See, guys, it's so good.
Yeah, totally.
That's not A or B. It's A and B.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's like extra soft.
Yeah, he coughed it up. Your hair, that's why. Hair is why I wanted to take it to the opera.
It seemed like that's what it meant.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Yeah, so I think that's the thing that happens. I think there's a level of genuinity. That's not a word. Of genuineness. There it is. To this whole thing, like she feels her loyalty is divided. Like she likes Saeed actually for real, I think, but she is supposed to get information from him and like possibly kill him. So I think maybe that's why the first scene plays out like that, because it is partially genuine.
But you think, I don't know, still.
I mean, maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but I feel like if she.
No, I mean, I think that makes sense. It's just like even in the first scene, no, she has like no guard. Like before she even knows who. As soon as he's down, she's ready to fall in love. You know, there's no like.
Hey, oh, she saw him. That hair. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
He walked in, you know, and you just can't say no.
Who keeps Strauss waiting? But he knows.
I wouldn't want to do that.
It's like saying Macbeth in the theater. You just don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh no! I forgot this in this episode. Let's get out the fake equipment that doesn't do anything.
If Jeremy Davies is in a scene, man, it's a good scene. So good.
Gotta find the right spot to set up my bullshit.
Hey man, it would work in other places. This is just a place where it didn't work. Come on, look, he's got a case for it. It's real. A case.
I love the way he fiddles with it.
Yep.
It's like, just right.
Little tap. Regina, that's an R. Remember RG?
Oh, was that a theory?
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Minkowski.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's another thing about this show is any character that's mentioned it's part of the conspiracy. You know, it's part of the mystery of like who knows what they'll be. You know, especially when you get to this part of the show, it's like anyone can, especially these characters will be like big deals. You know, and it came out of nowhere, and it's just kind of like you. So anyone that's mentioned, you know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Payload. This is how we will figure out what the island is right now. This is the scene where it all becomes
true. It's just gonna snap into focus. Aha! Yeah, that is weird.
Thanks.
How am I talking to you if I don't have it? Makes no sense.
Satellite phones, man.
Satellite phones,
they're not going through the time barrier.
They transgress time.
The time barrier is in the horizontal plane.
Of course.
The signal from the satellite goes vertically up to the satellite.
It doesn't go above.
Down.
Interesting. Yeah. But I guess it has a certain height. I mean, the helicopter, it seems like it still matters, but maybe if you got high enough, you could just kind of levitate out.
Well, the satellite is out of the atmosphere, you know, so the time barrier can't be out of our atmosphere.
Hey. No, I guess I always envisioned it as a dome. But yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe it's got
Right. It
holes
could
in it.
totally be a dome. It would make sense if it's a sphere around the island.
Yeah. That's what I imagined. But I mean, of course, we'll never know.
I guess I imagine like a like a like a circle around the island, not a
Hmm.
sphere. So
Yeah,
it
it could be
has
like
like
that.
height,
Sort of a cylinder kind of thing.
cylinder.
Yeah, like a wall around it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Time warp.
almost like the sonic fence.
Yeah, exactly. Sonic fence.
Like it keeps the smoke monster in, even though like it seems like he could just fly over it.
Yeah, exactly. It should parallel that. What?
I guess that's what Locke was gonna do. Or no, this is a ruse, isn't it? But they make us think that's what Locke did.
Yeah.
I can't believe Hurley he's like, all right, Hurley, what do you want? Okay, like, can you like do a con for me?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't believe he even pulls this off.
Right.
Hurley's usually really bad at this.
Supposed to be a bad liar. Which part? Not yet.
Yeah, it's so vague. I remember like being really suspicious of Miles,
Mm-hmm.
and he's really just taking it lightly. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not really a threat. He's just like whatever. Like I don't care about easing your mind.
Yeah. It's a medical condition.
Yikes.
Okay, so this thing was late.
Yep, super late.
So what does that mean?
Man, what if that hit somebody?
Right?
Seems like that could do some damage.
It's a rocket. Jackson, what is that? Maybe that's a rocket.
Such a simple answer.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit. So 31 minutes behind?
Oh man, I remember making a diagram to try to
You did.
understand how those clocks got like that. Because I
Yeah.
think it doesn't make sense, like with what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah. So that means if it's like 8:31 on the freighter, it's 8 o'clock on the island, or the other way.
uh, I think that's one confusing part. So let me think about what happens. So the
Yeah.
doctor washes up, and they're like, the doctor's still here. So that seems like it should mean that the time's earlier on the freighter.
Yes. So if it's 8 o'clock on the freighter, it's 8:31 on the island.
Yeah. And then try to make sense of that. And
So it's like if Regina sent the payload at 8 o'clock her time, it got to the island at 8:31.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
I don't know. Let me think. Um,
Oh, Chomsky's barking.
I know. She's going crazy right now. I don't know what's happening out there. I can't imagine it's anything too interesting. Okay, so she says it's already there. Oh God, it makes no sense. She says it's already there. That's the opposite of what happens with the doctor. That was one of the problems, right? Because with the doctor, it's what are you talking about? The doctor's right here, and in this case, it's what are you talking about? The rocket's already there. You see what I mean? It's like it's the
She
opposite.
says when the rocket, she says, okay, the rocket is there. On the
Yeah.
island, it had not reached it yet.
Yeah.
So the island was an earlier time. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. The island is earlier at this point. But then later on with the doctor, it's the other way around, where the doctor shows up before they sent him. So it's like in a flux, like it changes. Like, do they want us to think that? I don't even know. Or did they forget which way it was supposed to be? Or is it just supposed to be like random?
Yeah. We'll never know.
But yeah, I was trying to think about like because wait. Okay. Yeah, okay. So maybe it makes sense. Like they're however many minutes earlier or they're later, whichever way. I don't even want to worry about it. But whichever way it is, the clock, the same amount of time runs, but if the clocks are shifted, uh, then when it arrives, it will be earlier or later, whichever one is happening.
Yeah.
I guess. So I guess that
I
makes
lost
sense.
$1. Sorry. Yeah. What? It's like that failed.
Well, I went with lock because I don't want to get off the island.
Yeah.
Seems pretty straightforward. Ain't got nothing. Oh, you know. Hey, because of what? Because of our fake story we're gonna make up, they're totally gonna let me off.
Yep.
About 3 years.
Yep.
In this case, it's gonna be like a day. Season goes by fast. I can't believe they have pinball machines, but I guess that's a Dharma thing.
Yeah, and this is just
Why would you ice tea? That's like blasphemy.
Jesus. Jesus. It's a secret.
This is a secret. Oh, of course he said
Oh
that.
man.
Yeah.
I guess he would say, I don't trust Ben. I just have to do this to protect the Losties still.
Right. But that's definitely that's a good example of this show when they do a good job of tying together the on island story and the
Yeah.
what's happening in this thing, because that's like it's a line that kind of makes sense for him to say, but it also it's like, oh no, he's trusting him now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this song?
There's a song.
There's a song playing on the background I really like.
What is it?
This is actually a Bonobo song. This is
Oh,
weird, who I got into after all this stuff. Wow, that's really
I
funny.
never recognized it and still don't, but that's cool.
Love this song. Yeah.
It's the hair song.
It's a weird song. There's the shot. Herbal Essence commercial. Uh-oh.
Yeah, of
Perfect.
course.
Well, here's the thing. If she knows who Saeed is, and this is all a plan, is she just ready to? Is she expecting to meet him? You know what I mean? So this whole idea of that she's got a pager and it goes off when the boss is in town, like, if that was true before Saeed came, she didn't have to mention that. If she's trying to protect Widmore, she could have just never mentioned that, right?
Right.
But she does mention it.
True.
But is that set up as a ruse to be like, okay, great, we think Saeed is coming, great, I'll have this whole thing where I'll have a beeper, and then we'll trick him into thinking you're here with this. You know what I mean? Like it's like so many weird levels of deceit here. It's hard to tell. Like,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's spying too. So it's sort of like he wanted to meet her and like they're both on a mission.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but if she wanted to protect Widmore,
oh,
if
she
that's
just
who
said,
the Economist is, this is great.
list.
What if they had the same employer?
How do you know that? I forgot that he's not an economist. Oh, they want the name of his boss. That's weird. Like, does Widmore not know it's Ben?
Yeah, who else would it
Is
be?
that really news? We'll have to talk about this later when we get more on the Ben and Widmore thing.
Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Like, if that makes any sense, because this is already deep into it. Like, he's already been killing people,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I buy that Widmore doesn't know who it is, and that was the whole purpose of this mission. But that seems to be what they're telling us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I guess for Saeed, it was getting close to presumably Widmore to kill him. Or maybe it's some other Widmore lackey. Or maybe it's none of that. I don't know. And there's the bracelet.
There's a bracelet.
Why? Why? It makes me wonder if like it's a Widmore company bracelet or something.
But only for the women.
Only for the women. Yeah, I mean maybe. There's a catalog or something, and you can get it engraved.
Or maybe it was a present for Christmas. He gave the women.
Oh yeah. I could see that. Little like thank you for putting in a good year. Widmore Industries.
Mm-hmm.
I love the threat. I'm gonna climb on that helicopter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Frank's like, oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, it all worked out.
And like Desmond, you were seeing the future like a day ago. Like, are you just over that now?
Huh?
Uh, is that what happened? I didn't say I was gonna bring Miles
What
back.
did Miles do?
Can't wait for all that work.
Yeah, she does so much work. Beyonce got work from her. Oh, sorry, Rihanna. Rihanna song. Now, I'm not an aviation person, but do bearings change by your direction? You know what I mean? Like if you follow a direction going to a place, does that same bearing get you
Yeah, I
back
would assume it
to
means
location?
180 from that,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's a little weird. I guess he's assuming like, well, Frank understands what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it literally should not be the same bearing. That would be ridiculous. That should just fly them in the opposite direction.
Yeah, yeah.
Cause she has a bracelet.
Because we don't want her body on the island forever.
And that.
Let's let it blow up with the
That's
freighter.
like they could have buried her, but I don't know. Maybe they thought like we don't need to spend time.
Well, because then Miles could go talk to her anytime.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Oh, did he do that already? I don't
He
even
did that when
remember.
when he first got there. He
Yeah,
talked
okay, right. He already did
to
that. So
see
that's
who killed
over.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird how I was getting a little frustrated in the scenes in the house, in the barracks, and then right after that in the little pool hall place. Like, just it's a little tedious all the drama that's going on right now, and like the Losties not trusting each other and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a little tedious because it's just kind of like, guys, this isn't even a big deal.
Right.
Like, you guys are gonna be so over this soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is a big moment, getting off the island.
Definitely. Yeah.
Nice
Yeah, it's
shot.
huge. That
And
actually looks like a
Ray.
helicopter.
Yep. This looks fake. This
Yeah,
is a
well,
fake
this
shot.
this
That's
is surely
real.
fake, but
Uh,
but that looks real.
that's real.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the infamous one of the best like last scenes.
Yep. Yep.
Just when you thought you understood everything.
Yep. In a veterinarian's office, like
Yeah.
so weird.
Hi
I love
boys.
I
Yep.
love the voice. when you don't want to know who it is.
It's always in the beginning, and then afterward it'll be like normal
He's
voice.
it's gonna get like extra nasal as soon as he reveals himself. Hello, Saeed.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's him, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Me? Who, me? Wait, hey. Yeah, got super normal right after the
Yep.
super nasal.
Hey, what happened to your voice from a second ago?
No, he had something in it. Just saw cough.
Talking like this anymore.
The over the glasses look is
Yeah.
so weird. It's such a it's like your your English teacher being really mad at you.
And of course he becomes a teacher in high school.
Yep.
I think that's some weird aspect of his character. Those fucking glasses.
Dude. What was Saeed's last line?
They know you're after them, or
Oh
you know they're after you. Sorry, now I forget. It was something like that.
yeah.
Shit. I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to get it wrong. Let's see. Economist is like a pretty popular word. Anyway, let's just see here. They know I'm after them. That's what it is.
Oh, I see. They just know now.
They just know now, apparently. Yeah, so I guess that's the idea that they didn't know before, but didn't they know before? And that was the whole point of Elsa's thing to find out.
Was the guy Saeed killed on the golf course the first guy?
Yeah, maybe that's true. But I mean, well, no, I mean technically the first guy was the guy who supposedly hit Nadia.
Oh, that's true.
So I mean, he might have been number two. You know.
Yeah, the first guy who dies is like, we don't know what's going on. But then the
Yeah.
second guy's got to be like, okay, something's up. And then maybe Elsa's the third.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't kill a bunch of people like it seems like he did.
Yeah, I mean, it could be earlier in the game. I was just assuming it was later. But yeah, I think you're right. I guess it's the early stages.
Yeah.
And I guess Widmore doesn't know. I'm so confused. Wait, let me put this together. So, I mean, the only thing that makes sense from like a normal show point of view is that the Economist is Widmore.
Mm-hmm.
Saeed says he's not an economist, which suggests he knows something about him. I guess his goal was to kill him, whoever that was. I guess that's what he was trying to accomplish, right?
I figure both sides want to know who the operative person is, so
but doesn't
that they
Saeed
can
know it's
ultimately.
Widmore?
But I mean, like my point is so that they can ultimately figure out where this person is. You know, so
Okay.
I think what Whitmore probably has some idea it's been, but the real thing is where is he? And this is
Okay.
what all the freighter people are about. And then like and then the other side is, Saeed knows it's Widmore, but the question is like where is he?
Right. Right.
But it just plays out so strangely. It just
I was just trying to put it together. The the problem is there's the stories they tell each other and then there's the truth, and I'm just trying to put it together. Saeed yells he's not an economist, but the economist was part of the ruse. So potentially she knows that, right? And it's not like Widmore told.
She does know that.
Yeah. it's not like Widmore said I'm an economist and you'll do shopping for
Well,
me.
here's
Like
the
that was all a
question.
lie, presumably.
Does Elsa does she do what she said she does for Widmore, or is she like
Yeah.
is she just an assistant, a low level assistant, or I mean she knows how to use a gun,
An assistant on a spy mission,
or is she like
potentially.
an assassin,
Right.
and she's just this is just a game, and she yeah, like I said before, I'm
It seems ambiguous. It seemed like she turned it off totally. But then in the earlier scene, it seemed like it was a real thing. And there was that thing of like, I'm gonna leave the pager here. And we see later the implication of the pager.
Well, I think, and then I remember we talked about this on previous podcast where it's like she's trying to test his interest in her. I think like, oh, I'll leave this here and see what he does. If he doesn't care, then maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe he's only here for me. But if he actually does care, then he's here for Widmore.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, is she sleeping with him because she likes him, or is it all just the game?
Yeah.
Is it all manipulation?
They didn't quite get a moment. I like in normal stories like that. There's a moment like right before they die where it's like sorry it had to work out this way, but I really did care about you and it was real while it lasted or whatever, they don't quite give you that. Her final moments make it seem like she was never in it at all. And it was all like she.
Well, no, but I mean, she didn't kill him. She wounded him, and then she didn't like.
Well, it seemed like she wasn't supposed to kill him.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they do need more information from him. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. So it comes across like she's just all business, but maybe she's just putting on that persona for Widmore, whoever she's talking to.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's not a good story if she didn't fall for him a little bit.
Yeah,
so that should be the whole point. If she has a conflict,
you would think so. Yeah, I just think it's interesting they don't quite put the bow on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like for Saeed they do. Like there's a clear moment with Saeed where it's like, oh, this sucks that I had to kill her like that. I didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You get that, but for her side, it doesn't. They didn't quite get that moment.
Yeah,
because she's sort of dead before she gets a chance to sort of reveal what her real feelings were.
Yeah, Saeed drops her, man.
But I think you're right. I mean, I think we're supposed to believe that's true. But I mean, maybe it's just typical. But
So is Saeed finding the bracelet on Naomi? Is that Is that the first idea that Widmore is behind the freighter? Like, I'm trying to remember as an audience member seeing this episode. I mean, you probably crackpot guessed that it's him, right? But like, is that the only evidence so far?
I wonder actually. I need to go back and like revive the retrospective little segments. I'd like to hear what we said at the time because I actually don't remember. I don't know if it's next episode, the one after that. It's coming right before we find out that it's Michael, the guy in the boat. We find out that that it's Widmore behind the boat.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if we thought that or if that was a surprise to us, or if we were just like, of course it's Widmore, because it seems obvious from what we know.
Yeah.
Because to me it's not just the bracelet thing is like pretty subtle. I remember being confused about the bracelet. I'm still confused about the bracelet to some extent.
Ben did mention before when they were tracing him through the jungle. Didn't he mention that the freighter people were there for them? Like we've already got to that plot point that they are there for Ben.
Right.
So
the thing we don't know at this point is that there's a conflict between Ben and Widmore. They haven't actually established that yet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's hard to remember there was a time when we didn't know that, but at this stage they have not had a scene together yet.
Like a rat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's coming. That's this season. But that's the reveal of the season in a way. It's like, oh, that's actually a central conflict in the show. We don't know.
So you're right. We don't know that Widmore used to run the island.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Exactly. We don't know anything about that. So, I mean, to me, the big thing that says Widmore is the picture with Desmond and Penny.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the fact that Naomi comes there with that ruse that, oh, it's I'm here from Penny Widmore, and who on the show could possibly know, but if it's not Penny, who else on the show would know about that?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
seems like the most logical answer. You know, it could be somebody else, but it would have to be somebody else who either knows it and we have no reason to think they could know it, or someone we've never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just like I feel like that's the obvious answer, but I don't know if we were thinking that at the time or not. I really don't remember.
Well, there's another question too. How did Widmore even get that picture?
That's a good point. I mean, he had like some, some goon like break into her apartment or something and
Yeah.
steal it.
And make it look like a robbery, and
Yeah.
he's like, okay, make sure you take the VCR,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so it looks like a robbery.
That would be my assumption. I mean,
Yeah.
we're never shown that. It's one interesting thing about the show that actually Penny and Widmore never get scenes together.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like their relationship, drives a significant element of the plot.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. I guess it's just because neither one of them is a main character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
Oh
like
man.
having a scene with just them would sort of take you away from the focus of the show.
It's like Whitmore's like telling Penny, see, dear, you wanted Desmond and I to have more quality time. Well, I brought him back to the island to shock him with electromagnetism.
Exactly.
Which every guy should do with his father-in-law, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But yeah, pretty interesting episode. It's
I agree that the business at the barracks was tedious.
yeah.
It's the kind of thing that when you know where everything's going, it's like none of that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like blah 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 till we get to Kimi's team arriving.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that changes the game over there.
Yeah, Kimi. Oh man, this whole next part with Kimi
I don't
is
think
gonna
we've even seen Kimi
be.
yet.
No, we haven't seen Kimi
I'm
yet. We
actually
don't see
thinking,
them till we go on the boat, I think.
yeah, exactly. Once Saeed and Desmond get there, I think that's the first time we'll see him. Um, but I'm thinking in terms of Widmore on the show, when's the last time we even saw him on the show? Is it I don't think he was in Catch 22. I think it was just Penny in that one.
Mm-hmm.
So was it Flashes Before Your Eyes, the McCutcheon scene? Like, is that
Must be.
See, I think that's another interesting thing the show does. It establishes Widmore as a character in like seemingly, I don't know, like they had him in the season 2 finale and his name was on the hot air balloon or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like, oh, Widmore matters somehow, and yet they really haven't established in the show at all that he.
And the doesn't Woodmore Industries make the pregnancy test or
Yeah, the pregnancy
yeah.
test. Yeah, they haven't established at all that he has anything to do with the islands.
Yeah.
Like that's totally up in the air. As far as we can tell, I mean, Penny only has anything to do with the island because she's looking for Desmond. Though the question we should have been asking ourselves, and perhaps we did, is how does she know he's on the island?
Yeah. Well, she knows because of her guys at the listening post who
But
saw the.
how though? How would she
How,
know like that I should look for some electromagnetic event to find Desmond? He went on a solo race in a boat. Why is he in a place that I should look for like this? You know what I mean? That's the thing I don't
yeah,
know.
we've talked about that before. Like it's some general location where he disappeared. He was last seen.
And then she knows about the
Or
island from Charles. Like, is that the idea? Like, how would she does know about the island. I think she's gonna say that in the next episode.
mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I always wanted the scene where she digs into Widmore's computer files or something and learns about the island, or she finds some files in his library. He has.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's never really clear. And that's the thing too that they never did was to like have Penny explicitly be like in the Widmore company, like
Right.
where like, oh well, she could find things out because she actually works for him,
Right.
but then they'd have scenes together that way,
Mm-hmm.
like son and her dad, that kind of
Right.
thing, almost.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just that's the thing about this show. It's so strange when you don't even have the fundamental building blocks of a story. Yet somehow you have a story, and you all the
Yeah.
details are amorphous, and it just it's so weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's because that seems like such a basic. I mean, that underlies like this whole thing because I mean, it's sort of like whether it's Charles or Penny who knows Desmond's on the island. I just don't. The only thing I could think of that like where I could possibly kind of get a handle on where this idea would come from is like some others thing like sometimes the others leave the island. There's communication with the mainland to some extent,
Hmm.
and they can see Desmond in the Swan Station,
Hmm.
via the Pearl, and so I can only the best I can do is like that information got communicated to someone on the mainland who like was still loyal to Widmore or something, or he sent a spy or something. Like I don't know how else he would find out that Desmond's on the island. It just doesn't seem like that's an easy piece of
Yeah,
information to.
or you have the idea that when Penny's people saw the electromagnetic spike, they just put up a satellite map, and then they got a satellite, and then they were able to see the island and go, oh wow, that wasn't there before.
Mhm.
Maybe this is where Desmond
But
is, and
why is she
then
looking for electromagnetic spikes in an art? Like, why would
she's
that
not.
have?
Maybe she's. Yeah,
They
I mean,
call her and they're like, "We found it." And it's like, well, what are you looking for? You're looking for a guy on a boat. Like, why is it an electromagnetic? You know what I mean? Like that, it doesn't add up.
yeah, I'm out of words.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't even pretend to make that work. There's
Like
no.
I feel like your idea is on the right track, but it's just it's I to fully put it in place, it's sort of it depends on a lot of missing scenes
Hmm.
for it to actually function. Like,
Well, and it's interesting, right? Because it could be that Widmore told her as a kid or something. He grew
right?
up on this island,
Yeah, totally.
had like all these problems, but like I feel like that didn't happen.
I feel like that could have easily not happened. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think the other possibility is that she found out about it by going through his files or something.
but it still doesn't make sense why right? Even if she knew about the island, why would she think Desmond is there?
Exactly. It's not like she knows, oh, it's lost and like it's about this island and so every character is there. Like there's no reason. It's just it would be so random. He was literally sailing around the world. Like you have no idea where he is, and it's like he's on this mysterious island that my dad used to be in charge of. Like that's weird.
Man, I really want to figure that out so badly. There's got to be a way. Like, there's got to be a reasonable explanation we could come up with, man. It's just
Yeah.
of how we have like these little pieces of a puzzle, and they just don't fit
Mhm.
together. Okay, Widmore knows. What does Widmore know? Widmore knows about the island.
Yep.
He knows Desmond went on a solo
Yep.
race, and that's it.
You would think that's it. That should be it.
Penny knows Desmond went on the race.
Yep.
Okay. At some point, she finds out about the island.
Yep. Yep. We
Okay.
don't know when.
Now, who knows Desmond's on the island? Okay. Obviously, Blosties know, and then
Oh no, I just came up with an answer.
oh shit,
Here's another possibility.
let's do
I
it.
gotta throw Miss Hawking in there Because in
Yeah.
Flashes Before Your Eyes, I mean, she knows Desmond's supposed to go to the island.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, she knows, yeah, like it could have been in Faraday's journal, I guess. Desmond's name is certainly in Faraday's journal. We see him write it there. Um, so, and obviously Hawking has a Widmore connection. That actually seems like the most logical way he would.
Well, but here's the thing. Now you bring up something else. So there's
I know
no
Miss Hawking is a can of worms.
there's no free lunches on this show. So do you think Widmore knew Desmond was gonna go to the island before he met Desmond, and that's why he never wanted Penny with Desmond?
I would say that's at least a possibility. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So,
if he didn't find out later, he definitely could have known earlier, and maybe that was the thing. It's just like what Miss Hawking said, like you're supposed to go to the island. You
but
can't.
then why would Widmore be more interested in her? Or maybe that's oh man, that almost makes sense.
It does.
It almost makes sense if he somehow, if you could say Widmore knew Desmond would go on a solo race.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could say, like, if he doesn't get Penny, then all Widmore has to do is say, no, I don't like you. You can't date my daughter. I don't give you permission. Driving him towards this solo race, which will inevitably lead him to the island.
In a way, it's that story becomes like an alternate version of the whole like the variable thing.
Yeah.
You know, because it comes from the same sort of thing of like there's kind of a time travel paradox element. Like, you know, they know that he went to the island because he went to the island and some people who saw him time traveled and then he was able to find out about it in the past.
Well, there's a question for Carlton and Damon, though. I mean, it's just like, if Widmore knew that Desmond was eventually going to go to the island, then that's a great way for him to find out where the island is. Just keep tabs on Desmond.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you would think he would have maybe done a better job, but I guess that that raises the issue of how he actually found the island. You know, whether he had like a tracking device on the it seems unlikely, but you know, like, because it seems like that's something he would want to do if he knows Desmond's gonna be going to the island, and obviously he wants to go back there. It's never made explicit how he finds it, though. Again, it's possible that he used the lamppost, you know.
Maybe Penny and Widmore sync their important events to the same calendar.
Oh God.
So when one person finds something out, the other person knows, but they don't know their user settings, their permission settings.
Oh, I hope that's what it was.
They don't know that this document is being shared with the other person. So
this is like 10 years ago at this point. So the technology, they weren't 100%, you know, familiar with it. You know, and Widmore's kind of old. Cut him some slack.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's interesting, but that's something I don't think we've ever thought of, that Widmore could have known where Desmond was going, and that could have driven him.
Yeah, I never thought about it, but now looking back, like the Miss Hawking Widmore connection seems like it makes more sense.
But they didn't have Miss Hawking yet, right? They didn't know. You know, right? They didn't know.
Yeah, that's definitely an open question, but it's possible that that's why they retconned it. That way. You know what I mean? I mean, like, they thought about it, and that's why they made the connection.
Okay.
I can see that happening.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that they would do that and then not spell it out at all, but
yeah.
But it seems possible.
Yeah.
Because really, yeah, why should there be any connection between Hawking and Widmore? We have no reason to think that at this point.
Yeah.
She seems like a totally different kind of character, and yet, like, their backgrounds are pretty similar.
She's at the monastery. She knows the monastery guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, see, she's keeping an eye on Desmond. That's what it seems like. She knows where he's gonna go and what he's gonna do.
But did Desmond ever tell what's his name? I can't remember his name. Jeremy Davies.
Faraday.
Faraday. Did he ever tell Faraday, hey, brother, I used to be a monk that made wine, and then Misaki's like, okay, I'll go here.
I can't say I remember that scene. That seems unlikely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fair point. That's a fair point. I have heard a lot of people say this about this explanation, that like how much can really be in Faraday's journal? It's not like Faraday's journal is like an extensive catalog of Desmond's life, you know. I mean, it could tell them that he was on the island at the very least. But yeah, I agree. It's not clear that he would put it, and also he was a monk for a month or something.
It was monk month.
Exactly.
Cool. All right, man. Well, yeah, a lot of interesting stuff in this episode. I'm eager to keep going and see how the season shapes up. It's definitely crazy so far.
Yeah. I can't wait till we get past this business and get down to the real shit.
Yeah, there's so much fun to be had.
Because they're just like this episode, like the on island stuff. It was like shuffling back and forth.
You know?
Yeah, like, that's all that happened.
Yeah,
like you go here, you go there, you go here, you go there, and that's it. That's all that happened. Yeah. Really, like the flashback, I think, is the most interesting part of this episode. Because it really tells us something new. And it introduces, unfortunately, a major plot line going forward. And it has like a big reveal. It seems like there's more drama there that isn't just kind of manufactured.
Did we need to ask why Ben knows how to heal gunshot wounds?
It is weird that he's doing that himself. Yeah, I don't know. That's others training. I have no idea. That is strange. Thought, like... It seems like Ethan should be there or something. I guess he's dead though.
Yeah, he's dead.
I guess that's a problem.
Yeah, he can still be there.
Yeah, it's like he didn't trust anybody else to do it. I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely weird.
All right. Well, good episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Until next time. Thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.